Hello everyone and welcome to Pushing Positivity on the Pier, where we introduce amazing people, take a deeper look into their story, and share how they're making positivity actionable each day. I'm Josh Schiller and today we are joined by speaker, philosopher, creator of the ABNoRML Project, as well as the philosophy Jump Out the Boat, Alex Vivanco.
Yes!
Welcome
Josh!
to the
How you doing, man?
Doing great, brother. How you doing?
Thank you very much for having me on the show today. I want to quickly give a quick shout out to the one that made this all possible. David Yarday, for hooking the two of us up. The power of social media, the power of just asking a question on, Facebook, like, hey, any YouTubers out there that want to connect. David Yarday, he hooked us up, and now we're making magic. As simple as that, like a simple, actionable step. So thank you, David and Josh, for accepting and for making this happen, man. Thank you very much for having me.
We'll do one here and the rest are up top.
All right, sounds good.
So why don't we tell everyone real quick, like, how we even got here, what happened, and why are we even sitting here right now?
All right, well, I'll start off with the meat and the potatoes. I basically quit my job cold turkey. It was a $70,000 a year job. I was 6 months away from making 100 grand. But I knew if I would have stayed to make that 100 grand, I would have stayed super comfortable. And I knew I didn't want to do that my whole life. And so I decided that if I were to jump out the boat, in other words, take massive action, put massive pressure on myself to figure it out, I'd be that much quicker to live a life where I'm in complete control and happy and passionate about what it is that I do. So I quit my job cold turkey. And about 2 months later, magic just started to happen. 2 months later, I took a car ride from Florida to New Jersey, 18 hours, all by myself. I was in this car listening to some Kanye West and Eminem, windows rolled down, wind blowing through my non-existent hair. And I just started asking myself, like, man, what am I gonna do? I had a family to take care of. I had to find a way to make money, but at the same time, I wanted to live a life of passion. So I remembered this statement in Napoleon Hill's book called Think and Grow Rich. He said something like, on the other side of your largest fear is your largest growth. So I'm like, okay, I need to freaking grow massively and quickly. I'm gonna start banging out some fears. And so I said, all right, I'm gonna start off with my biggest fear since I need to grow the fastest. That fear was this secret that I kept. And it's the secret of a chest deformity. It's called pectus excavatum. Basically, my chest caves in. Check it out. Want to touch it really quick, Dave? Josh, touch it. Now give it a high five. Oh, baby, you just pushed it in a little more, man. All right, so it may not seem like much today or to others, but it's completely different when you're actually born with it, you live with it, and many of us suffer with this self-conscious fear that have it. But anyhow, I knew it was my biggest fear. I never told anyone, but I realized how much this secret was really holding the real Alex Vivanco back. Until that point, I was really just afraid to stand out. I was afraid of rejection deep down inside. I was afraid of people not liking me. I was afraid of people seeing me in a different light that I wanted to be seen in. And so I was a normal person. I tried to act normal. But it was then that I realized, what if I freed myself from this? Then I could be truly Alex Vivanco. And that day, I saw this vision. As I was driving, I was literally vibrating at the speed of light. Vibrating, man. And I saw this movie in front of me, like holographic movie in front of me in the windshield of like how it is that I could help people. It was like the answers started coming to me. And one of the answers was that I could help people with pectus excavatum. I could be an inspiration to kids with it. I could be the mentor that I didn't have growing up to get over, to like conquer this fear and to accept it and to find the freedom of who we are on the inside. And then the second part was that I could show a broader range of people that everyone is special, especially if it was like on that day that I saw for the first time ever in my life at age 28 that I was special. For the first time, I felt that I was special. And I came from rock bottom, financially, mentally, spiritually, psychologically, everything, like zero. I wanted to be a truck driver at the age of 21. Like I had no dreams, I had no way of thinking, I had nothing up here. And 7 years later to realize like I can be myself for a living. And I realized, dude, if I'm special, if I have something beautiful inside of me, a gift to give to the world, which is ultimately to be your abnormal self, my abnormal self, then everyone else has this gift as well. And that has been my message, that has been my movement to help inspire others to see their abnormal uniqueness. Everyone is super special and has something amazing to give to the world, not only through their awesome gifts, but through their abnormal gifts, which may not seem as a positive thing in the beginning. Usually it's during the darkest times, during your toughest period, your adversity that really teaches you the beauty of happiness, the beauty of, really shows you that light inside of you.
So, before we got to that point of driving with that vibrational energy, one thing we really like to focus on here is that point or that shift, right?
Yeah.
So you said at 21 you want to be a truck driver, just like any other normal 21-year-old, right?
Yep.
And at that point, what happened between that point and that point where you're driving in the RAV4, seeing that vision?
I gotcha.
What was that pivot point?
Well, I think it all starts off with a little bit of knowledge and philosophy, right? I definitely read a couple of books that helped me think differently. One night, as I was trying to start a small business in contracting, construction, because I was a carpenter, right? So I knew I didn't want to do that. I said, okay, I started my small business. I was working 20 out of 24 hours a day, easily, happily, making money. That was what I was doing. My oldest daughter calls me up one day as I'm in the middle of breaking down this bathroom wall, right? Dusty, wet. She calls me up hysterically crying, Daddy, I miss you. I want to see you, I never see you. She's like 3 years old at the time. And it hit me right then and there that, you know what, this isn't the answer. Like I want to see my kids, I want to spend more time with them. And that night, I crept into their room and I did my ritual. And what I did was I whispered into their ears, you can do anything. Anything is possible. I would always whisper that into their ears. My dream was for my kids to live their greatest life one day, right? To go for their full potential. I believe that anything is possible. I still do. And that night, as I whispered it on the same day that she called me, hysterically crying, I realized that one day, she may follow in my footsteps more than she will in my advice. You know how that saying goes, our kids follow what they see, not what they're told. And if I'm telling her that anything is possible, then I thought, I better show her. I would have a better chance of helping my kids by maybe doing it myself and going after my own dreams if it is that I want my kids to go for their dreams. No matter how hard it may be, my full potential. And so I made a promise to my daughter the next day that in September 2014, I was gonna quit my job and be there to walk her to school and pick her up. I was gonna find a way to start my own business and just figure things out, but I was gonna take control of my life and put it into my hands. Now, September 2014 comes. What I did in between was I attracted it through written affirmations. I believed in written affirmations, something that I got from the great Brian Tracy. Every day for about 9 months, first I made the promise. I made the promise to my daughter. You don't break your promises to your kids when you really mean it, you know what I mean? Like you tell your daughter, I'm walking you to school. So that right there puts pressure on you. That is a version of jumping out the boat. That is a version of massive action. So every day I wrote down both sides, front and back. By September 2014, I quit my job. By September 2014, I quit my job. September 2014 comes, it's time for me to quit. I go up to my boss, I'm like, I need 2 weeks of vacation. I got scared, man. I procrastinated. I said, no way, I don't think I can make this happen. They got upset. They didn't want me taking 2 weeks. I took the 2 weeks off anyhow. 2 weeks after that, in the middle of September, they came up to me as I was screwing a door buck in, saying, Alex, we gotta lay you off. The wish came true. The prayer came true. And the moment that he was saying, Alex, we're laying you off, I was like, it's happening. And from that moment on, instead of scrambling to find another job, right? I said to myself, this is it. I'm never going back. I'm gonna figure a way out how to make this happen, which at the time I didn't know about like entrepreneurship. I didn't call it entrepreneurship. I just said, I'm gonna figure a way out to take control of my own life and be in charge of my own schedule. Then 2 months after that, you know, as I was thinking in that car ride, the vision came to me because of this pressure. So to answer your question, started off with the philosophy, a little bit of philosophy. Some of the books that I read was Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now I only started getting into this philosophy in my mid-20s, right?
Why?
I was in the restaurant business. I was a server in New York City, right? I'm surrounded by aspiring actors, movie stars, kids my age, all shooting big.
Going for it.
Going for it. One of my good coworkers comes up to me and says, Alex, so what do you want to do with your life? What are you going to do?
Right? Super easy question.
And I was shaking. I was like inside nervous because I said, I don't know. I'm not going to get my CDL license and I'm going to be a truck driver, make $1,000 a week. That was my goal. That was my lack of or dream, call it a dream, not, but that's what I wanted. That's what my mentality was like. And he laughed at me, thinking I was joking. He was like, you're funny, man. That was the moment I said, there's something wrong with my thinking. I'm not pushing, I'm not thinking big enough. Why? I have to have at least the average talent as everyone else. Why am I not shooting for the stars like, you know, a lot of people are? And that moment, I responded back like, nah, I'm only kidding, man. And I don't know, we just ended the conversation. But that night, I had this question in my head. What's wrong with my thinking? I was excited to get home. I ran home, I got on the train, and I was excited to get home to start researching.
What do I do with my life? Right. Google, right?
The first thing I Googled, yeah, exactly it.
Where all life's major questions are answered.
The first thing I Googled, Josh, was the word dreams. And that's when I came across the work of Napoleon Hill. And I fed into it for the first time. I was like a kid in a candy store. My brain, for the first time ever, was being fed this knowledge that was so unfamiliar with, you know, growing up. It was like a kid in a candy store.
They don't teach that in school, right?
Not at all, man, not at all. And I just soaked it up, man, like a sponge, dude. And I just dove into this new philosophy. And that was the first night that I ever wrote down any goals. And one of the goals was to work with my hands. And a couple of years later, I became a construction worker, a union carpenter right across this river over there, building some pretty cool buildings. And that was like one of the first incidences where I attracted, you know, one of my visions to life.
So now we've started doing the work, right? We've Google searched dreams. We've started reading books such as Think and Grow Rich. And we've also now had the point where we ask for something, put it down in positive affirmations. Now, one thing I really like to focus on as well is, so writing things down. right? Positive thinking is very important. But I think something just as important is planning for those obstacles that you're going to face as well. So we've had the full gamut of people, in terms of people who have jumped out the boat on the show, people who are still building parallel lanes, still working corporate America, still building something parallel to that. Did you plan for the obstacles as well? Or was it really just a jump out the boat and figure it out later?
I would say it's more of that. Anything's possible in this world. A lot of people believe in the power of the universe, the power of the mind, the power of God. And anything really is possible. And I didn't really know what I was gonna do, but I just believed in this power. And I'm not the perfect planner. I'm not the perfect person to freaking hit every goal and do things accordingly. But I just knew that me and my family were gonna be okay. And I didn't really fully believe in God at that time or in this power, but I just believed that if anything was possible, like miracles are easy. Miracles are easy. We're capable of so much more than the smartest person in the world can possibly fathom, I believe. And I literally made it my life's mission to put that to the test.
You knew you had to do the work as well, right? It wasn't just like, I'm gonna jump out this boat and magically things are gonna happen, right? I mean,
I didn't think magically, but I also didn't think of it as the work either. The way that I looked at it was, I was gonna make my passion my only option. I believe you can be yourself for a living. So why not find yourself?
What a profound idea for a second. Let's really just, let's take that in for a second. You can be yourself for a living.
Yes, that is the future we're going into.
It's an amazing statement.
Definitely.
I want everyone to just take that seed and let it implant in their minds real quick. You can be yourself for a living.
You can.
You don't have to put on that face of what you think people want you to be, of what society has told you to be. Normal. I think that's what that is right there, right?
Absolutely.
So let's fast forward again. We're at that point, we're having that vision. Then what? Okay, we had this vision, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people have visions, a lot of people have ideas. How'd you turn that into execution?
First, when I saw that, well, let me share with you really quick the high point of that car ride. I knew that I needed to get over this fear, right? And the next day, it was my high school reunion.
Fun time.
High school reunion. So instead of waiting a couple of months to, like I said, one day I'm gonna take my shirt off, this and that, and just tell the world. That next day, man, I was inspired by a good friend that told me, Alex, what are you waiting for? Do it now. So at my high school reunion, I ended up taking my shirt off, gave my first ever public speech in front of about 50 people, and just like, it was the day I realized what Mark Twain meant when he said, the two greatest days of your life is the day that you're born and the day that you find out why. I was, okay, I'm gonna make videos. So I got on a path of making motivational videos, and then the greatest day of my life happened, which was also one of my greatest curses. This river right here, I caught a vision of wanting to jump out of a boat and say the quote, the famous Tony Robbins quote, if you want to take the island, burn the boats. My take on that was, if you want to take the island, burn the boats, my recommendation is you jump out of the boats first. That was my vision, my passion, the thing that fuels me inside to do stunts and to mix it in with motivation. Not just talk about it, but like, just be myself.
Jump out the boat.
Jump out the boat, literally. I jumped out of this boat here on January 30th,
Into the
Hudson River.
One of the cleanest rivers in the world.
One of the cleanest rivers in the world. I think it was 2016, the day after my 30th birthday celebration. And A couple of days later, I get a knock on the door. It's the New York Post. They want to interview me. They said this video has gone viral. And I'm like,
In a good way, right?
in a good, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. And I said, I was hesitant. Anyhow, I called them back saying, all right, let's do the interview. And I gave them my life story, just like I'm giving to you right now, Josh. Just like I'm giving to you. And at the end of our interview, I'm like, yo, you guys are gonna hook me up, like help me out with my brand and this and that. They're like, yeah, no doubt. No doubt, we got you. A couple of hours later, the story goes live on the New York Post website. And it was a bashing. They ripped me apart. They tried to destroy me. And I guess the whole story went viral everywhere. And it was one of the toughest times of my, not only for myself, but for my family as well, right? It was like it was an embarrassment. It felt like it, right? Now, mind you, I'm still, a huge part of me is still this kid that is afraid of rejection and what other people think, right? It's tough to get over 28 years of mental conditioning. So when this hit and it goes global, national, bro, it really freaking hurt, man. But at the same time as this was happening, I knew that just like this curse was a gift, just like this, a curse of getting laid off could be a gift by putting pressure on myself, then I knew that this apparent, alleged curse would be my greatest gift as well. And that's when I started to think and realize of the beauty of jumping out the boat. And that's where the philosophy came about. The very same day, like I just knew, massive action. People are gonna criticize, people are gonna judge, people are gonna call you stuff. But I just knew this is the path least traveled. I knew that this was the path that a lot of the greats took, right? Like taking massive action, standing out, being crazy, right? And at that moment, you know, I had family and friends, all of a sudden, freaking out, like, you know, I felt like I was outcasted. I felt like I looked like the crazy one. But at the same time, this is the stuff that you read about that a lot of the greats did, right? Like they stood out there, they were criticized and judged and all this in different ways. But I feel like this incident of jumping out the boat was the physical version, was like, it was just showing me exactly how it works. And this is how it works and how powerful it is.
What kind of boat were you in that you jumped out?
It was a New York waterway ferry.
They were probably thrilled that you did that.
Not at all, not at all. But before that, here's some value. Before I jumped out.
We're not condoning jumping out of a ferry though here, right?
Not at all, not at all. But you
Just
will
that's
have
good.
to jump out of your own version of your ferry one day.
It could be a figurative boat.
Without knowing what's gonna happen, well, actually, here's the point. I knew when I was standing alongside this pier, staring at the water, what I wanted to do, my vision with my camera crew, I knew that I was gonna be okay. It's the same thing with any other vision that you have. If you have a vision, if you fully believe and purely see it, and you take that leap of faith. Now here's the thing. Nothing or no one is gonna help you to take that leap of faith. That's when the magic starts to happen, right? That's the leap of faith. That's jumping out the boat. It's not knowing what's gonna happen. It's knowing through believing what's gonna happen, but you're still gonna need the courage. You're still gonna need to take that leap of faith. Fully committed, 110%.
And what do we face in there? I mean, it's the same thing every time, that no matter who I speak to, no matter what situation we're talking about in life, it comes down to facing that one thing, and that's fear, right? And at the end of the day, it's about facing that fear and doing so with the knowledge that, hey, I might not know what's on the other side of this, but if you use history as a lesson and take from it some of the greatest teachers, the best results are on the other side of that fear. Everything you've ever been looking for is on the other side of that fear. And I think another great takeaway here is, again, being that we've been able to speak to such a wide range of people, taking that jump out of the boat, again, it could be the figurative jump, not necessarily out of the New York ferry, but that can happen on different levels for different people. For some people, it's gonna mean quitting their job cold turkey, and that's how they have to approach that situation. For other people, it could be building that parallel lane where they're building multiple projects at the same time. And for other people, it could be taking 10 minutes a day to work on something that they believe in, something that they have a vision at.
I'm definitely not advising anyone to, not everyone has their own path. Everyone's got their own path. I'm only sharing what I've gone through, my experiences, and all I can do is share my philosophy and what I've learned. Everyone's got their own path, but it's you can call it a fact. Like, there's gonna be fear and you're gonna need to take massive action. You don't have to take massive action. You can go whatever way you want and it'll work out for anyone. Whatever your path will work out for you. But I do believe that you can take super massive action and like just put yourself under this pressure and just find yourself more. I consider it, that's where you start to live the most. You know, like in 2 months, like I jumped out of the boat by quitting my job.
Then what happened? We jumped out of the boat. Then where?
Then I crashed. I crashed mentally, psychologically, and spiritually for about 1.5 years. I was destroyed. Even though I still knew that this would be my great lesson, this would be my great philosophy in life one day, but I was destroyed. And I battled with paralysis of analysis. I battled to get back out there again. And it's been tough, man. It's been tough. I was so freaking lost. Like after my greatest highs, I was so lost, dude. I freaking cried.
You took this massive action.
Yeah.
And now you're like, oh, everything's gonna be great, right?
Right. I was lost, man. I cried my eyes out a bunch of times, man. Depression up and down, man. You know, it was tough, dude. It was tough. I deviated from my original energy that, you know, got me there, and I let it get to me. But here's the beauty. Here's the beauty. I stuck to my guns. I stuck to my passion. I tried getting little side jobs here and there, but I noticed that I was dying from, like, I just wanted to stick to this philosophy of being myself for a living. I knew that this pain that I was going through, that it was gonna help me out and it was gonna help me to grow. So I stuck to it.
Pulling the positivity from the negative. You know, even with pushing positivity every day, we keep it real. We keep it authentic because it's not all positive.
Right.
But think about any time you've learned something.
Positive.
Think about anything you've learned in life. You learn a lot more from the times that you fail.
Absolutely.
Than you do from the times that you win.
Absolutely.
Winning can give you that false sense of confidence, right? Where it's like, I got this. So, okay, so now we've taken massive action. We've went through the dip. What were the actionable steps that you actually took to get out of that?
The actionable steps. The most important one was believing in myself. I believe no matter how many ups and downs I went through, I would always tell myself and my wife that one day I am going to be fully, you know, enlightened, living a life of passion. I know it's true. I know we can live that way. That is my main goal. And, you know, slowly but surely, I'm getting closer and closer. I'm there now. For the past 2 months, I've been on this ridiculous high that I believe that each and every one of us has the capability of. And what I believe is that the positivity and the happiness comes out after you truly find yourself. right? Like the greatest happiness, the greatest high, the greatest positivity is when you're at peace with yourself and you found the light inside of you through the darkness. When you find that, you appreciate happiness more.
How do people get to that point?
You got to jump out of boats. You got to be willing to get lost. You got to be willing to find, you have to be willing to believe in the power of the world, the universe, God, whatever. You have to believe that there's something greater out there. And then you have to take the action, whatever it is. Just start following your heart. My first goal was to be a DJ. I said, okay, I want to entertain people. Like I started listening. I want to entertain people, make it in front of people. Boom. And then I realized this isn't it. So I quit. You can't be afraid to quit either, guys.
Self-awareness.
Yes, exactly. There's a notion that goes on in America. It says, oh, don't be a quitter, this and that. You know how many people have great jobs, lawyers, doctors that hate what they freaking do? You know how many people make great money that hate you know how many kids are in their 8th year of med school, but they won't quit because of their parents that probably paid for their school. Oh, I'm 8 years. Dude, if you stay true to your heart always, no matter how crazy the action may be, stay true to your heart, you will always get one step closer and closer. But you have to be willing to not settle and to keep going. And I promise you, you will figure it out. The light will come into your life. God, the universe appears when you're willing to walk into the darkness. You get something out of any massive action that you take. You have to just take action and move and move and move. And it's it, man. It's all in the books. Here's a beautiful thing. I think you'll enjoy this. Google has solved one of the biggest problems of the past, right? What's that?
What's that?
Knowledge. Knowledge is available to us. Everyone's got the knowledge. What's the next biggest problem? You know this, Josh.
Let me hear it.
Taking action.
There you go.
Who's going to be the Google of action taken?
So let's talk a little bit about this action. So what's more actionable than actually creating something from your vision? So let's talk about this.
This is a painting, Josh. This is my philosophy of jump out the boat. And I'd like to start off with what many of us are doing. Many of us are on this boat here. We're seeing the world. Let's picture us on a boat, seeing the world, looking at the most beautiful places around the world. We're taking, right? We're taking the land of New York City, right? Like somebody gave that to us, right? Like people are out there that are given these great landmarks, whether it's books, whether it's a movie. Like when we're checking that stuff out, we're taking. So when we're on this boat, we're taking. There's nothing wrong with that. We're supposed to take from others that give as well. But everyone that's given, like for example, here, look, Disney World, right? People give their music. What about the Statue of Liberty? People that created some of the greatest things that are being given to us were boat jumpers. Meaning, we're not only supposed to take from the world, guys. We're not only supposed to take from what other greats have given. We're supposed to jump out of our own boat. We're supposed to find our own path ourselves to essentially, I'm shortening this up a little, to essentially find our own treasure that's deep down inside, that's hidden within. And when I say to be yourself for a living, I don't mean that in like a simple, basic term. I mean that in like, what are your gifts? What are your ideas? Maybe it's a business, maybe it's music, maybe it's a crazy idea, a book, a speech, maybe it's Disney World, maybe it's a new country or planet that's yet to be discovered. Whatever it is, there's something inside of us that when we let that out, when we let that shine, one day it's going to be up here. One day it's going to be shining. It's going to be something magical that will leave behind our legacy. Other people on the boat, right? They're going to come across that, just like they come across this beautiful mountain view, just like they come across Disney World when they go to Disney World, just like they come across this great book like Think and Grow Rich. They visit another beautiful country, someone's idea that helped them out. But the point is to not stay in this boat, just stay in taking. The point is to get inspired from it. You have to get inspired and see what it is that's possible. And when you see what it is that's possible, all these people are pushing the same stuff. You can do anything. Believe. You have great potential in you. Go for your greatest life. Go for your greatness. The only way to do that is to take that leap of faith, even if you don't know what it is. Eventually, through all the scary stuff, when you jump out here, these people here, your friends, your family, the news media, they're gonna judge you, criticize you, they're gonna try to destroy you. They're gonna say, you're crazy for jumping. What's wrong with you? But eventually, you will find this treasure inside. And then you're gonna create something so beautifully. You're gonna shine. And then guess what? You're gonna live inspired. You're gonna create something inspirational. And out of that inspiration, the word inspire means in spirit. That is when we're gonna create our greatest work. Who we are deep down inside is a spirit. Ourselves is a powerful spirit. And it is there when you find that spirit where you're gonna create your mountaintop. And when you do, because you created work of inspiration, like for example, Beyonce, do you think she sings inspired?
A little bit.
A little bit. She inspires the hell out of people through her music. There's inspiration. You have to create out of inspiration. And in order to get there, you have to find your spirit deep down inside, who we are deep down inside. And when you do, guess what? That spirit is energy. People are gonna feel it. Then, the point is, you're gonna inspire someone, and hopefully they will, one by one, jump out the boat themselves to find their own source of inspiration. It's the greatest way to live forever. These people, right, all of them that gave in the greatest way that are gone now, they still live today. They're helping out people in the most ways. So when you're here, it's gonna be tough. You ain't gonna be helping anyone. You gotta find yourself first, your spirit, and when you do, you're gonna give in the greatest way that you possibly can, out of your spirit, out of your heart, out of who you are deep down inside. And eventually, as time goes on, more and more people will take action, will take massive action, will jump out of their own boats. And what happens when everyone jumps out of the boat? What's gonna happen?
Massive change.
There won't be a need for a boat.
So let's talk a little bit about abnormal. So normally when people hear abnormal, they think that it's a bad thing.
Right.
Why is it a good thing?
It's a great thing because it is through our abnormal gift where we can help people the most. Meaning, your abnormal gift, something that doesn't seem as a positive thing at first, like let's say depression, having a hole in your chest, some type of mental abnormality, anything, your trauma. If you're able to conquer that, if you're able to defeat your adversity, then you're able to go back and help. There are many people that are going through similar situations, whatever it is. Like for me, it was kids with pectus excavatum. This thing that my abnormal curse was, once I realized like it's not what we are, who we look like, it's who we are on the inside. Once I realized that, then I realized that my main market for helping would be kids with pectus excavatum. Now, past 2 years, I've suffered from paralysis of analysis, depression. But now, after I've grown from that, then there's a group of people out there that are definitely not going through exactly the same, but are going through similar things that I can then go back on and help as well.
Some of the most profound words I've ever heard were, in order to teach someone else something, you don't need to know everything. You just need to know or be one step ahead of where they are, to show them how you've walked in that path.
Yeah.
And that's a way where you can help someone where you don't have to be Mark Cuban or any of these other people that have taken so many steps ahead, but maybe it's somebody that you were basically a year or two before, right? I'm sure there's kids with pectus excavatum that you could tell them what it's like to go to school with that and how to overcome that. So I think there's definitely some truth to that.
And that's the best feeling in the world. Helping someone that can relate to you, that you can relate to. Like literally, it is fulfilling to be able to give after you've taken action to give in your greatest way, which is being not only true to yourself, but true to your past, like giving what you've learned from it back. It's the best way to give.
What do you want to do with the Abnormal Project?
The Abnormal Project is a way of living. That's all I want to do, is help people to see that their abnormal perceived curse can be turned into a gift. And I just want to help people that are different to realize, how special we all really are. No matter if we're like not what society would consider the cool kids or the cool entrepreneurs, or there's so many different types of people out there. And I really believe that we all have an abnormal gift, man. We all have an abnormal gift. We're supposed to stand out, and we're supposed to just be unique, man. Just be you,
So what's next? We've now created a philosophy. We've created the Abnormal Project.
Right.
What's next?
What's next is to speak way more, to get more speaking engagements, and to spread my message, and to share Alex Vivanco with the world, and to help as many people as possible. My first mission, man, is to just be the greatest Alex Vivanco that I can possibly be. I really believe in more that, there's the greatest wealth in the world is in how you give to others. It's love. That is the greatest wealth in the world. I'm working on a book, Josh. I'm just gonna share this philosophy, but
Do you have a title yet?
the title of the book is gonna be called Jump Out the Boat.
Jump out the boat.
Yeah, man. But like I said, Josh, I really just started living my vision that has taken, years of a lot of adversity and, ups and downs, and I'm here. Alex Vivanco is here, and
Yeah, he is.
I appreciate it, man. And we'll just take it, you know what, you just gotta take it, you gotta live today, man.
So on that note, this is a part of the show where I really love to just kick it to you.
Okay.
And I'd love for you to talk with the audience and just give them, whether it's guiding principles that have guided you, or just some actionable advice that they could take into their day.
Right.
So with that being said, the floor is yours, sir.
Right. There is a way of living, guys, where you can truly be passionate and feel an energy inside of you, an energy of happiness and excitement every day, all day, where you don't need food or sleep, right? And that energy will fuel you to create your greatest work, to connect with others and at the deepest levels. And my best advice would be to believe in this energy that's inside of us all, the energy of our spirits on the inside, our inspirational spirits on the inside, where we truly have a love of life and a love of giving to others. The best advice is to do whatever it is you feel like you have to do to find that. It is worth every sacrifice to find your abnormal self on the inside. It is worth everything. One thing that keeps us a lot from finding this life of happiness and joy and of giving in the greatest way that we possibly can is fear. What I want to say about fear is, guys, it is selfish to live in fear. It is selfish to live in fear. Don't let fear cause you to think that, oh man, I'm not going to be able to do this or do that. If I take this massive action, something is going to happen to me, or I'm not going to be able to provide. Guys, if you ignore the fear and if you take the action, you're going to find your greatest potential, and you're going to give in the greatest way when you are found. You're gonna give in your greatest way. You're gonna benefit the world, your friends, your family, society in the greatest way once you find this light inside of you. So don't let fear stop you from finding your light, from going for your vision, from living your dreams, because it is selfish to live in fear and to only give a portion of what you're capable of. We're capable of so much. So take the action. Sometimes you have to be selfish about finding yourself and growing as a person in order to find how it is that you're gonna give in an even bigger way. It's worth it. You'll find the light, you'll find the energy, you'll benefit the world, you'll leave this world empty. Out of your ideas, out of your visions, because they'll all be left behind on earth. And that is, ironically, fulfillment. It's leaving the world empty of everything that you had to offer. But in order to get there, guys, you have to be selfish with finding yourself in order to one day give in your greatest way. And I'll finish off with, guys, whether you have a hole in your chest or a hole anywhere else in your life, it doesn't matter how dark it is. Do not ignore the hole. Dive into the hole. Dive into the darkness. In there, somewhere, you will find a gift, a sunken treasure, a light that'll make you so powerful and so unique that it'll make each and every one of us superhuman. And remember that normal is average. We weren't born for average. We were born to live abnormal, beyond average. Jump out the boat, do the abnormal, do the crazy, and shine that treasure that's on the inside. It's there, it's waiting for you. Just jump into that darkness. You can do it. Thank you.
Thank you for that, sir.
Thank you, Josh, appreciate it.
So, that was amazing, first of all.
Thank you.
How do people get in contact with you?
You can follow me on Instagram, Alex Vivanco with the 0 at the end.
That's V-I-V-A-N-C-O.
C0.
Okay.
Alex Vivanco. And that's about it. I have a vlog on YouTube. You can find me through my name as well, just Alex Vivanco everywhere. Or you can hit Josh up. It's whatever.
Email?
Email. Alex Vivanco with the 0 at the end again,
okay,
at iCloud.com.
Okay.
And you know, I'm open to doing speaking engagements. I'm open to making videos with other YouTube influencers and just living life. You know, it's tomorrow will never come. Yesterday is gone. This is when people ask me what I do. I'm doing it right now. Let's do it right now. Yep. Let's live life right now.
Yes, sir.
Let's spread positivity right now. I mean, that's the best. That's the only thing we can do,
yep,
right? It's like, forget about the future. We got to start thinking and living in a mindset of right now, happiness now, no matter where you are in life right now, happiness now. And, you know, like, this is it. This is it. This is what we're doing. This is it. This is what we're doing.
Pushing positivity.
That's it, man. Pushing positivity.
Jumping out of boats.
Absolutely, man.
So
every day.
So with that being said, there's two things left. Number one, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. I think that you just gave a ton of value. I think that there's a ton of actionable advice that people will be able to take from this episode. Your story is powerful. Your actions are even more powerful. You've taken the massive action. You're walking the path. You're doing it. And that's part of the reason, if not the main reason why you're sitting here today. So number one is super thank you. Number two, and this is super important as well, this is how we end our show every week. Thank you so much for coming, brother.
Thanks, Josh, man.